Welcome to the Heaven on Earth podcast, a world where you study the story you were born into and redesign it into the story you choose. A world where you can have heaven on earth right here, right now, no matter the past. For me, heaven on earth is a holistic experience, leading with the heart, engaging with mind, body, and spirit. It's mindful, fostering calm and secure attachments. As we rise into consciousness, it's an earthly journey where we sensually embrace dynamic living.
Hello, beautiful souls. I am back. I know. It's been a minute since I dropped a podcast episode. And listen, part of it is definitely the zeitgeist. The energy's been wild out there, to say the least. But if you already know me and you know my work, you know that these episodes are more than just content. They're transmissions. And I generally only speak when inspiration calls me. Between riding the emotional waves of this collective era of emotions and launching the second edition of the Empath Leader book. Yes, I'm so excited. I've been in deep creation mode, but I've missed you. And so I'm back. Now, disclaimer, this episode was actually originally meant to be a vlog. But let's just say it started as a vlog and then I had a lot to say. So it's officially podcast worthy. And honestly, this topic deserves extra airtime. It's definitely connected to my two recent podcast episodes, which is about the era of emotions. And this one is specifically about the way that emotions and the expressions of them goes terribly awry. Because we're talking about gossip, not the surface kind, but the deep emotional spiritual, the kind that reveals just how sideways our emotions can go when they're not held, healed, or expressed with care. So grab your tea, grab your PhD on me journal, or just open your heart and let's dive right in. Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to another vlog where we discuss truths, tools, and transmissions. Today's hardcore truth is about a word we all know. In fact, we might have been hurt by it. We very likely participated in it. It's gossip. If this were a cloudism, I would add gossip, which we translate into the shadow side of connection, the psychic misuse of voice, the way that our sacred longing for connection and closeness can turn corrosive. Yes, the spiritual misuse of our voice, the psychic leakage of our unprocessed emotions. That's something I talk about all the time. In my Heaven on Earth podcast, my last podcasts, two of them were about the era of emotions, and I talk about gossip being a way to have emotions in a very, very distorted way. So let's dive right in and explore its roots, its evolution, its damage, and most importantly, the healing. You know how we do on this channel, we do all of it. I'll be using my all is in the small, small is in the all approach because this one's personal, this one's ancestral, and as always, this one can be healed through you. So full disclosure, this is going to be a longish vlog. So get your coffee, get your notebook that says this is a PhD on me because that's what we're here for. All right, part one, what gossip really is. Gossip isn't just talking badly behind someone's back. It's talking about someone without their energetic consent. It's using their name and their story and their journey as social currency, as a bonding tool, or worse, as entertainment. And here's the deeper truth. Gossip isn't just words. It's energy, it's frequency, it's a psychological projection that once spoken doesn't just vanish. It lives in the field. And if we're not careful, it becomes part of the collective shadow we're all trying to heal from. That's my mission. Part two, the word gossip has a sacred origin story. Believe it or not, gossip didn't start out as something that was hurtful. The word comes from the Old English God-sib. Look it up, which actually means God-sibling. Do you love that? Just the way we say godfather or godmother, this is God-sibling, a spiritual companion and a trusted witness in sacred transitions. Oh, I just love this origin story. It was a word of intimacy, of sisterhood, of brotherhood, of divine connection, God-sibling. Let's start with the roots. So it referred to someone who was spiritually connected to the mother during childbirth, a trusted witness to her most vulnerable moment. It was about support and it was about kinship. Women, in that case, who were using their most beautiful gifts, which was conversing and communing. These are feminine gifts, conversing and communing, who were putting words to their care, words to their emotions. But it soon moved from sacred into slander. The story continues. Part 3. So all of a sudden, God-sib moved from tool of bonding into an energetic weapon of destruction. Over time, as power shifted, as powers do, as patriarchy, yes, and control crept in, the word began to change because that's what happens. What was once revered became weaponized. Instead of holding space for another, the gossip became a whisperer. I think of Iago in Othello, in Shakespeare's Othello, a slanderer, a danger. Over time, gossip became suspicion. It became poison. Women gathering was seen as dangerous, and it was likely true based on some reality. Women could not pillage, fight, rape, or dominate with brute force. So yes, words, behind the scenes manipulations, spreading rumors became a way to power. Royal courts were full of the use of gossip to gain power. Too much talk, too many gatherings, even between men, was seen as threatening. Think of the early Christians. They were persecuted for gathering. So gossip became a way to shame, to humiliate, to silence, and to surveil. And during eras like the witch hunts, gossip could literally get you killed. And if you think of it, underneath any regime, gatherings and what people are saying becomes threatening. Words become knives. Voices, check it out, become verdicts. And trust was the first casualty. Instead of honoring connection, it became a tool to undermine it. Isn't it amazing how things are turned around when we're afraid? So here's where it gets dark. Gossip became a weapon, not just reputational, by the way, it was lethal. During the witch hunts, for example, rumors were enough to get women killed. Rumors led to executions. And if you go back any time in history, this is how people were lynched during the Jim Crow era because of a rumor. Literally, psychically, socially. Words that once protected were now used to destroy. And we inherited that. In every oppressive regime, whispers were enough to destroy a life. In narcissistic families, it's the quiet dagger. It erodes, it isolates, it destroys trust without drawing a physical weapon. And I'm sure by now you're wondering, why are we even talking about this? Why am I talking about this? Well, let me tell you why. This was my inspiration for this vlog, because as a psychotherapist, I see it all the time in my adult clients, especially in their lives as children who grew up in gossip-saturated homes. Part 4, what I see in my clients. Trauma every single day. Not just in the stories they tell, but in the personalities that they've built to survive it. And listen, I am saying they, but this hits very close to home for me because of the culture I grew up in. not only the Latino culture, but my own family culture. So here's what gossip teaches children explicitly and implicitly. Get your pen out. Number one, it teaches children to be perfect. Otherwise, you're next. Children learn quickly how to disappear under masks of goodness or perfection. For example, gay children often learn to tightly and quickly closet themselves early on. The message is clear in a home where there's gossip. Don't be different or you will become the target. Number two, these children, they mask. They stop sharing emotions because vulnerability becomes a liability. The more open they are, the more likely they are to be gossiped about. That's how you get hurt. So they shut down, they mask, and internalize shame. Yes, shame is being buried. And not for anything bad, for just being themselves. Number three, they learn to gossip too as offense and defense. Gossip becomes both a weapon and a defense. If I join in, maybe no one will come for me. If I gossip first, maybe no one will notice me. It's a distractor. Look over there. Look at that person. Don't look at me. If I join in, maybe I'll be safe. Number four, children trauma bond through gossip, especially in families or cultures where this is the main form of closeness. Certainly in mine, in the Latino culture, for sure. It becomes the love language of fear. That's sort of an oxymoron. In some families, gossip is the main language of closeness. It's the trauma bonding tool that's disguised as conversation. Number five, never be like them. They learn who not to be. They watch who's being gossiped about and bury any part of themselves that resembles that person. Children watch who's being ridiculed and exile those parts within themselves before anyone else can. Watch my podcast on the shadow. Carl Jung talks about this a lot. This is what forms into the shadow. And even though we've exiled it, it will find the way to show up all throughout our life. Number six, they learn to weaponize emotions. Ugh, this is so heartbreaking. Whew, it's so heartbreaking. Gossip isn't just talk. It's displaced emotion. Let me repeat. Gossip is displaced emotion. She married him. The real question is, how do I feel about her marrying him? Number seven, children lose their authenticity, not to survive tigers, but to survive tongues. They become master performers. And what's the cost to that? Their real self. I end up seeing them 20, 30, 40, 50 years later in my therapy sessions. Number eight, they may become the parent's confidant, which we called the parentified child. I wrote about this a lot in the Empath Leader book because a lot of empath children become the parentified child, mommy or daddy's best friend, the special one, the child who's allowed to gossip about siblings or other family members in order to stay in good graces, the child that may feel chosen, but it's on this weird foundation of betrayal. They are the special child by colluding with the parent. Some children even become the parent's emotional confidant. The parent gossips with this chosen special child about the other parent. It feels like love, but it's actually a transaction based on guilt, on mistrust, and on betrayal. Because really, I was a parentified child myself. You never know when that's going to change. Who's going to be given the turn of the chosen one or the special one? The other things it does is it makes the other siblings hostile towards the chosen child. I know, isn't it amazing all that gossip does to a child in a family, remember, don't be fooled. Gossip in a child steals their authenticity, their sense of trust in the world, and it actually just steals their childhood. They become hypervigilant, strategic. They live through fear, not through love. Let's talk about the impact it has on groups. So let's zoom out. Gossip isn't harmless. It's systemic, it's cultural, and it's spiritually stinky. It's very stinky because it's putrefying. It's rotting everything that's around it. First, gossip erodes group trust. Fast in offices, schools, families, friend groups, spiritual communities. No one knows who's safe. People start performing, not connecting. Number two, it's actually the foundation of the mean girl culture. Teenage suicides, bullying, it's often gossip in disguise and really weaponized. Gossip is bullying. Again, let's not fool ourselves, but it's the underhanded, socially accepted kind. I want this vlog to pop a pin in this bubble. Gossip pretends to be power, but it's actually the very opposite of courage. It's indirect. It masks as empowerment, but in all the wrong ways. If you don't know how to speak directly, if you don't feel emotionally safe, gossip becomes your strategy. It feels like power, but it's actually avoidance. And let's say the same question is true. Like if you don't know how to be direct, if you don't know how to use your voice, if you are in a group that gossips, you will be buried in your own silence and fear. Number four, in families, and take a moment to think about yours. And it wouldn't just be yours. It's many cultures, many families all over the world that do this. Gossip creates trauma under the guise of closeness, connection, and bonding. Gossip is the psychic version of exile. It's the fear of being talked about, of being misunderstood or betrayed. It's all there in our ancestry and in our cultural mores. I know that that's how I grew up in almost all my groups, and I had no idea. I'll give you an example. When I was in my 20s, I realized every time I went to happy hour with friends or even a group of women, if we got together for dinner, and we had a great time together and people were vulnerable and they shared or we went dancing, the next day I would feel horrible about myself, and I would go into a panic that everyone was talking about me, everyone. And now I know that was a post-traumatic stress hangover because of how I had grown up, not just in my family, but in my culture and in my friend group when I was younger. Because people did talk about me, and they did ostracize me sometimes, and they did spread rumors about me. It's pretty brutal, but I know I'm not the only one. It's all over. It's all over humanity. And it's stinky. Number five, gossip divides and conquers. It fractures families and friendships. The divide and conquer strategy of parents talking to the child about other parents or about their siblings, talking about others in order to gain favor. It's not connection. It's not intimacy. It's emotional warfare. This is the war vibe at its best. And it's sneaky. It is so sneaky. It is so subtle because it's socially accepted. And it's hard to go against it. It's so hard to go against it. Can you see why the all is in the small and the small is in the all is important here? Because let's say number 6, in narcissistic homes, all narcissistic systems are based on gossip, are based on demeaning others in order to infuse the energetic environment into fear. Shaming is part of the deal. These are homes. Narcissistic homes are ruled by shame, by pride, by secrecy, and by emotional avoidance. So gossip becomes the only outlet. It's the air that this family breathes together. It is a way of saying how they feel without ever expressing how they feel. In narcissistic households, gossip becomes the only language of vulnerability. It's how people vent without ever actually saying how they're feeling. It replaces emotional literacy with psychic sabotage. These are all psychic forces. In the book, The Empath Leader, I talk about beware of psychic forces and energies. And what I mean by that is this. We know that when a group is talking about another person, what that can do. So now let's talk about the impact on you, on me. If gossip is part of your world, and this is one of the ways that you use to bond or to get your emotions out, people will stop trusting you, even when they're smiling to your face, because they're not quite sure who's going to be next. They begin to know you as the person who gossips. And so there's this silent separation, this silent unsafety, the quiet beating drum of the war vibe that's in our bones. Even when people are laughing at what you're saying, they don't feel safe. Another thing that happens is that people stop opening up to you, including your partner, your kids, your friends. And guess what happens? You can become paranoid because you're projecting it. You're thinking, if I can do this, they can do that. And that's normal. You project what you're doing onto others. You wonder, who's talking about me now? And you begin to mask, and you begin to hide, and you begin to lie, and you begin to have secrets. You're wondering all the time, what are they saying when I'm not around? You lose trust. You lose trust in yourself, in others, in humanity. You live in a state of suspicion. You feel isolated, even if you're surrounded by people. Gossip is not harmless, my loves. It erodes and it destroys. Don't be fooled. Gossip does not build power. It builds walls. Now, let's talk about the clinical and spiritual cost of gossip. And it is raw and it is real. Clinically, gossip is no joke, and that's why I'm making this blog. It activates survival trauma responses like hypervigilance, fawning, fleeing, fighting, masking, emotional shutdown, people pleasing, especially in children or adults that feel like they're being too much or too real, so they become targets. If they're vulnerable, it really shuts down the humanity in all of us. It frequently leads to repetition trauma. So we easily attract narcissistic people or relationships that use gossip as a weapon, because gossip is a hierarchical power play, superior, inferior paradigms. The gossiper feels that they are superior to the person they are gossiping about. That fits right into the narcissistic wheelbarrow. So this is mirroring the same tactics that were used in the families or cultures they grew up in. People can spend decades painfully trying to rediscover their authentic self. I'm telling you, it's painful. They often show up in my office feeling confused, ashamed, lost, or disconnected from who they really are. It wires people to disconnect from their authenticity, and we can see why. It's just to stay safe. Gossip becomes a really toxic form of connecting. You bond through fear instead of love. So can you imagine what the dating pool is like? This is why I just did my series here, my vlog series on what's love got to do with it. We have generations full of trauma and trauma bonding. We're not at fault. It's that we've got this in our blood, in our bones. So instead of love, there's fear. Instead of curiosity, there's judgment. Instead of repair, there's war vibe. Instead of truth, there's division. Just think of the love scene in worst case scenario. This is where we get really real. The shame, the psychic isolation, and the chronic fear of being socially killed, right? Like, dislike, which is what they used to do in the Colosseum. The gladiators, the audience would say like or dislike. They would be killed in the Colosseums. And this, in modern day language, or in a modern day scenario, leads to depression, self-harm, and suicide. We've got teenagers committing suicide all over the place because of thumbs up or thumbs down. This is not harmless. It is soul level danger. That's clinically. Now, spiritually, gossip pulls us out of alignment because we don't know who we are. Our mind might say something, our body might say another, our heart might say another, and we're misaligned. It severs our connection to source. It distorts our perception. It makes it a lot harder to see the good, to receive guidance even. Because see, gossip becomes internal criticism. All we hear is those negative voices that we took from the outside and brought into the inside. It makes us undecided and indecisive. We don't believe that we can get guidance, support, or help from our surroundings or beyond our surroundings, with God universe, with the quantum field, with higher source. Faith, trust, and intuition feel inaccessible, unreachable. It's hard to go from party of one to party of two-universe when we have external gossip that is now internal self-criticism, constant self-criticism, because we're always thinking about what others are saying. In Spanish, we call it el que dirán, which means what are people saying? And it rules our life. So we can't make decisions and we can't ask source for help in making those decisions because we're so afraid of the psychic and physical exile and death. This is generations of fear. It's the psychic echo of being cast out of a tribe, one of the deepest human fears. And when we participate in it, even unconsciously, we not only repeat the wound, we become the one casting out another. What to do? Ready to heal the gossip wound? I know you're ready for the healing right about now, but I can also feel energetically that you're really reflecting on this. So here's the path forward. Write these down, please. Write them down. Number 1, reflect on your family system or lineage. Did someone always need to be chosen as the villain so that others could feel connected? An aunt, an uncle, a brother, a sister, a father, a mother? Did you learn that closeness requires targeting someone else? Number 2, name the real emotion. Or try to. Instead of gossiping about what someone is doing, ask, how does it make me feel? And if you're talking to someone who's gossiping, stop them. Ask them, how does it make you feel? You are redirecting with that question. Does it make you feel jealous, afraid, insecure, triggered? Ask yourself, what am I feeling about the person I want to gossip about? Name the emotion. Don't dodge it by projecting it. Number 3, if someone gossips to you, ask them, what does this bring up for you emotionally? This might irritate them. They might balk. They might freeze. That's okay. It immediately drops consciousness into the conversation. They might not like you if they know you're going to ask that every time. That's okay, because this is a way to start stopping it. You're also dropping integrity into the conversation. Number 4, say the hard truth. I'm not comfortable about gossiping. I've been the target before, and I don't want to do it to someone else. It's one of the things that I've done in my family. I've gotten a lot of reactions, but over time, they've actually just respected me. In my Colombian family, they call me La Tumba, which means the tomb. And what I've experienced is that everyone now can come and confide in me about their own feelings because over time they've learned to trust me, that I won't gossip. So be brave enough to mark your boundary. It's courageous. It has integrity. That's spiritual maturity. Number 5, it's normal. It's normal if you need to vent. That's normal. We need to find places where we can express ourselves about relationships. Find a therapist, find a trusted friend, find a coach, find spaces where you can share what you feel. We're human. We get triggered. We need to process. But choose someone you trust who can set a sacred container. And you might start it with, I need to vent. I need help. Can you hold this with compassion and confidentiality? Number 6, this is a sneaky one. It's very, very subtle. Name the shadow pleasure. Acknowledge the addictive pleasure of gossip. Let's face it, gossip feels good. You know why? Because it makes us feel like we're better than someone. It pulls in the superior, inferior paradigm. Yep. It's about hierarchical dominance, that sneaky war vibe. But ask yourself, really take a time to reflect, right now even. Is this who I want to be? Sometimes it feels good to feel better than someone else. But that little zap, that little dopamine hit of superiority comes with a cost. Ask yourself, is this the kind of connection I want to build my life on? Gossip is centuries old, but so is our capacity to evolve, to choose love over power, connection over control, healing over harm. So here are some final words. Today, gossip might not lead to public execution, but it does kill something real. It kills trust. It kills integrity. It severs energy cords between people who were once connected. It makes us afraid to be in our family groups, our friendship groups, social media. And how about our nervous system? It hits just as hard. We feel it. We know when we're being spoken about. Gossip is a type of energy theft. It's speaking someone's name without holding their full humanity. So we come full circle. Let's return gossip to its roots. Let's be the one who do that. Not slander, but sacred witnessing. Not control, but connection. Your words are spells and your voice is holy, especially for our babies. Use it to bless, not banish, to bond, not break each other, to express your truth, not disavow your pain or deflect it. Come on, let's be the generation right now that brings gossip back to its original form. God-sibling, sacred support, spiritual companionship, because you don't have to trade someone else's name to feel seen. You don't need to exile someone to feel safe. Don't leak your power. Live it. Let's do the real work, the courageous work. Let's speak with clarity, curiosity, and care. Let's start to create circles where authenticity is not punished. This is how we heal the next iteration of humanity. And you know I'm on a mission. When we feel the urge to gossip, we use it as a signal, just like a trigger, a prompt to connect more deeply with ourselves. Remember the inner journey. Bring it back here and ask, what do I really need right now? What am I feeling right now? Is it intimacy? Is it belonging? Is it closeness? Is it validation? Thanks so much for sitting with me and taking notes during this vlog. You know I'm on a mission to bring heaven to earth, and this is the way we do it. We start to heal all the little cracks of trauma that we have as a humanity. So many of you have been asking, Claudia, when are you having the next dynamic meditation method workshop? Especially after my series on the Heaven on Earth podcast called The Era of Emotions, which we are obviously in the midst of right now. Hello, dysregulated nation. It's clear we need more than just talk therapy. We need tools, we need truth, and we need transformations from the inside out. Enter the dynamic meditation method, which is my signature psycho-spiritual workshop that's part self-healing, part self-therapy, and part self-reflection. This is the work I've created over 25 years of a trauma-informed practice, spiritual study, and real moments of UTF, what is happening in my central nervous system. And guess what? I'm doing it 2 ways this time. Option 1 is virtual. Everything's on Zoom. It's 2 days straight. So come prepped, come fresh. May 31st through June 1st. It's lower cost, but it's still a big shift. It's safe, it's guided, it's deeply personal. The last time I did it virtually, I got amazing feedback, and you can find all of that on my YouTube channel. Option 2 is the in-person experience, June 14th to 15th, and that will be in Washington, D.C., where it's all happening. For those of you who want a deeper connection, embodiment practices, and shared energy, and bonus, there might be a little book sign-in surprise. Whether you're in therapy and want to turbocharge your process, whether you're not in therapy, but you're craving a safe space to feel and want more portable and practical tools, whether you're just sick of bottling everything up, this is for you. You become the DJ of your internal world and of your emotional calibration. You'll learn how to move emotions without spiraling, ground when you're overwhelmed, rewire survival responses, and actually feel safe in your body. So this is a soft drop. If your soul is saying yes, which is one of my meditations, the Say Yes meditation, drop me a love note at Claudia at ClaudiaCauterucci.com, and I'll send you the details. Let's turn emotion into evolution. Let's rise together.